$350,000 was the difference between two valuers' valuation reports on the same property. If you are someone who is buying assets, you are renovating them, and then going to refinance and cash out the equity after the renovation, it is very important to know the difference between different valuers on the same property can literally be hundreds of thousands of dollars and sometimes even millions of dollars depending on the property's value. Now, because we renovate over 100 properties a year and we start more than 2 renovations per week, we understand the differences between valuers. Some valuers are a lot more conservative and some valuers are a lot more bullish. And when you are going and revaluing a property after a renovation wanting to cash out equity, naturally you want a valuer that understands the price that you paid for the property and whether that was under market value at the time, on market value, or you overpaid. You need them to understand how much money you've spent on the renovation, whether that was a market price for a renovation or if you're doing it yourself, how much cheaper that was than what it would have been if you went and paid retail for that renovation, and then what the property is actually worth post-renovation and the comparable properties that you were using to base your renovation valuation on. Now, we have had multiple instances in the past where we've done a renovation on a property and the valuation has come back less than what we bought for a property. There was an instance the other day where we paid just over $1 million for a property, which was under market. We then spent a couple of $100,000 on a renovation. A valuer come through just after the reno and the property got valued at $980,000. A week later, another valuer comes through the property and values the property at $1.3 million. So what is the difference between those two valuers? They both got the same qualification. They both looked at the property in exactly the same condition, yet one valued the property at $980,000 and one valued the property at $1.3 million. And in the bank's eyes, both of them are correct. So when we are ordering valuations now, after we have finished a renovation, we don't just order one valuation through one lender. We go and order 5, 6, 7 valuations because we know that every single one of those valuations is going to be completely different. And we want to make sure that we're getting a valuation that reflects the actual value of the property as if that property was to go and sit on the market and be sold. So if you are someone who is renovating properties and you're wanting to get a strong valuation done at the end of the renovation so you can cash out equity, make sure you go and get multiple valuations done, because there is a good chance that the first valuation you get is not going to be the best valuation. And another tip is to make sure you meet the valuer on site. Show them the comparable sales that you were using. Make sure they are settled sales, by the way, not just sold sales, because they won't use sales that are not settled. Make sure they understand exactly how much you've spent on the renovation. Make sure they understand when you bought the property, what it was actually worth if you've paid less than what you think it should have sold for. For example, if you bought the property off market, like a lot of the properties we buy, and keep ordering valuations until you get the valuation that reflects the value that it should reflect. Because again, remember, a valuation is simply just an opinion of that person. It doesn't mean it is the only opinion.